And family, thank you for joining me here at the American News Network with Chris Sanders. Well, guess what? Seems like Greenland is kind of liking the idea of turning orange. That's right, but NATO should also realize that you're toast. But we had the Prime Minister of Greenland. You know, he's thinking that Trump is just about as cool as I think he is. And let's get real, that guy's got some zest appeal. And so Greenland is looking like it's going to be on the map. And yeah, look, they just can't help themselves. Trump has got that zest appeal. He is he is who he is, ladies and gentlemen. And that's just Donald Trump in action. So it looks like we got some stuff happening. I'm also going to tell you something else, and that is DEI in action. I want you to realize that Lake Castaic is and Lake Casitas, but we have a few lakes right around Los Angeles that, guess what? They'd been bone dry for 25 years, had record amount of rain. So we had rain sources that they could have pulled out of the water. And this is Lake Casitas. And first time since the 90s they've had any kind of rain. But I'm trying to point out some stuff here for you. And this is Castaic Lake. And Castaic Lake is basically right up past Six Flags Magic Mountain. The reason why I'm bringing up these lakes is because these would have been adequate reservoirs for the city of Los Angeles to pull out of so that they could have put out the fires. In fact, there's a couple fires now that are not too far. Maybe those rejects, these DEI hires, maybe you can consider pulling some water out of Lake Castaic. That's a little present from me to you, because obviously all you can do is blame each other. You see, these DEI hires, first off, lesbians as fire chiefs, that's a slap in the face to the homosexual community. It should have been Ken and Bruce. This is a job, if anything, gay men. But you put gay women in there, and how did they do? You want to give them strike 2 or strike 3? I'm going to let you hear the lesbian fire chief, and she blames everybody but herself, and she talks about all this stuff and the importance of going home. Lady, the people that you swore an oath to protect and serve don't have homes anymore because of your inadequacy to do the job. This behind me is Lake Castaic, still filled to the brim. Everybody in California, if you needed fresh water, you could have pulled out of this. They even had algae out of there and needed to even get rid of some more water. This is how absurd all of you people in Los Angeles truly are. And I've even heard that Gavin Newsom didn't let a lot of firemen into your state because their fire trucks didn't pass your emissions standards, and that would be the true fact. That's why Sanders Drilling and the gas company and Chevron, we pulled our drilling rigs out of the state. You're down to 2 drilling rigs in that entire state. You're going to crumble. This is what voting this way got you. I'm going to bring some other angles to America that they didn't even consider. For instance, I think that Chinese drones are working in tandem with the weather, and that they basically burnt out little Israel in the United States. And this could be an attack in the war that we're just not realizing yet. You know, I could have a theory saying perhaps ISIS and Islam did hit New Orleans because Speaker Johnson is from New Orleans and he funded Benjamin Netanyahu. I could say that I have proof I'm about to show you that people are saying either UFOs or orbs, and our government isn't being transparent, but I'm going to tell you they're Chinese orbs that could be setting off these fires. And they're dripping hot molten, they're dripping fire, and all you need are like orbs and drones from China working in tandem with the weather, and a retarded woke DEI lesbian force that is inadequate, that can't pull ocean water out of the ocean to defend homes that are literally within sight of ocean water. Yeah, no kidding. That's being retarded. That's why this is a man's job. Because men are used to agricultural problems, and there would have been some shit kicker on your team that would have said, hey, you know what? Why don't we just put a pump out there in the ocean and water all these homes down and do it right now. You mean you didn't have a roughneck or an American on your entire team, huh? You're all just a bunch of imports or homos or DEI rejects. You didn't have one shit kicker reject from the oil patch in the entire fire department? Okay. You see, that's why they're called firemen, not firewomen. Yeah, you'd make great nurses, but now I hope this is proof to you that as a fireman, you suck and you don't have what it takes to pull the water out of the ocean or out of Lake Castaic right here behind me to save your community or to your family, because, well, what kind of a family does a lesbian woman have? Put this stuff together before you just don't have any community at all, because these people don't come from homes. They don't come from families that you'd consider as a family. This is your wake-up call. And it's not a nice one, but this is not about your feelings. Again, if this is about your feelings, well, let's ask your gay fire chief lesbian woman on her feelings, because she wants everybody that's on her force to make it home. You know how ridiculous that sounds to act like, I want you to hear this ridiculous chick talk, this lesbian talk, because she's acting like she has a job when she fired herself for letting her entire town burn down. So the audacity of these DEI people, whether it was Trump's DEI lesbian Pepsi chief or this one, I am tired of having the wrong man for the job, especially when it's supposed to be a man and it turns out to be a woman. But there's a lot of them, don't worry about it. I think Lloyd Austin's DEI. Yeah, Admiral Levine, your DEI, and all this DEI stuff is ruining our country. And let me tell you something. Did you ever think that maybe China planned this because now they've got a land invasion that's easy in California? I'm going to show you Chinese drones coming up out of the ocean, hovering around these fires, and you can add 2 + 2. But we need a smart government. We can't have DEI rejects. We need people that are proactive, not retroactive. Listen to this nonsense. Listen to this. Gigi tries to give this clown some layup questions, and this fire chief is so retarded, she can't even answer Gigi's questions, layup questions, to try to get her out of a problem. So the reporter's a genius here, but the fire chief, total retard that burnt down your entire town. You need to, and she's acting like you're going to forgive her and give her strike 2 and 3. California, are you ready to give this lady a second and third chance? What about Bass, even though she dedicated and donated your fire hydrants and fire equipment to the Ukraine? And this lady behind me was too much of a coward to really talk about it. So all of you lost your homes because of inadequate women that were working for the Ukraine. They're criminals.
I'm the fire chief of the greatest fire department in the world. So my focus, first and foremost, is to make sure that our fire department, our firefighters are properly funded, they're properly trained, they're properly equipped. So when it comes to the criticism, since day one, my number one priority has been and will continue to be that our firefighters get what they need so that they can serve the community. That is number one. I am going to turn down the noise when it comes to any type of criticism.
There is no more community that you have, dimwit. You let it burn to the ground. I want this to sink in on how absurd all these DEI rejects truly are. Okay, she let her community burn to the ground, but this lesbian still feels entitled. She still didn't use water from the ocean. There are still fires going on. Lake Castaic is still full. It's not even an option because they're too retarded to do options. No kidding. I'm just pointing this out.
Every decision that I make is going to be based off of what my firefighters need.
And those lives are on the line. So let's get to the big question, the budget. There's so much talk about it. It was cut 17 million, it was cut this, it wasn't cut at all according to one newspaper. Was your budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025 cut?
I can tell you, I'm going to even go back further than that. Again, since day one, we've identified huge gaps in regard to our service delivery and our ability from our firefighters, boots on the ground, to do their jobs. Since day one, this is my third budget as we're going into 25-26. What I can tell you is we are still understaffed, we're still under-resourced, and we're still underfunded. So with that, whether it's 7 million, 10 million.
But was the budget cut, Chief?
Yes, it was cut, and it did impact our ability to provide service.
Let's talk about that memo. You sent a memo, a scathing memo, to the Board of Fire Commissioners where you expressed your concern that you were not going to be able to do your job. Your firefighters would not be able to respond adequately to a major emergency like a wildfire, like what we're seeing right now.
Right, so understanding where our services gaps are, number one, is understanding where our firefighters need in regard to their equipment. Now, let's focus back on what our people need, and what they need to be is properly funded and equipped. Whether it's 7 million or not, it doesn't matter. It impacts our ability, just like you said with the board report, of our ability to provide service, and that's on a normal day. Our firefighters are running over 1,500 calls. They're transporting 650 patients a day on a normal day, let alone the last 3 days of what we've had with significant impacts that have changed the communities that we serve, their lives forever. So with that, we're going to continue to fight for what we need to. That is my job as the fire chief of the best fire department in the world.
In December, you wrote that memo. You said that these budget cuts were going to severely affect your department, from everything from brush clearance checks to make sure homeowners were doing what they needed to do, to fire hydrant checks. And yet you heard the mayor just yesterday say, no, those cuts did not affect the ability to serve and would not have changed anything in this situation. What is going through your mind? And I know this is difficult. There are a lot of politics at play. You are not a politician. You are the woman responsible for all these men and women at LA City Fire and for our residents in the city of Los Angeles. When you hear the mayor say it didn't affect anything at all, what is going through your head? If you can share that with us.
Sure. So just full transparency. Again, my position is to make sure that our people get what they need to do their jobs, and also, mind you, that they get to go home to their families. The amount of calls that our firefighters are running today has doubled since 2010, 55%.
She wants to make sure that her firefighters can go home to their families. Okay? Her community has no more homes. I want you to let that sink in. Gigi's really giving her layup questions. She's too much of a retard here to even put it together. Literally just inept, and just, these people should not be in any positions of power. They were rejected from their own families for good reasons, and they reject the Bible, ethics, and standards, and mock God. I want you to know 48 hours after the Golden Globes mocked Jesus Christ, they were burned to the ground. Yeah, you know, some of you say, oh, Chris, do you believe that God controls the heavens and the earth and the sun and the rain and the moon and the wind and the fire? And I would say, oh, yes. Yes, I do. And this is proof of that. Sodom and Gomorrah has burned.
Response is being criticized by so many people. What is going through your mind?
Yeah, just again, the full transparency of the documentation, of being able to sound the alarm.
Does it make you mad?
I don't know if it makes me mad. In the end, that is my job as a chief, to make sure that my voice is heard, and my voice is amplified from the needs of what our people need to do their job.
So tell the city, tell the residents, tell the people that are out there. I mean, thousands and thousands of people have lost their homes, and they're looking to blame someone, and it's not the Santa Ana winds necessarily.
Right.
They are looking to blame administrators.
Right.
What is the message here? And have you had a one-on-one with the Mayor Bass and said, hey, I told you so. I told you this was going to affect our ability to respond to a major emergency?
I would start with a message to the community. I think they already know in their hearts that our LAFD firefighters are here to serve them, first and foremost. Again, none of us on the fire department are politicians. We're public servants first. We took an oath to serve the public before ourselves and even before our families. So with that, I want to focus on path forward. I want to focus on what the LAFD needs, what I need as the fire chief, and what our people need to do their jobs to make sure that we can save lives and that we can protect property to the greatest capacity, but we need to be funded appropriately. And that's where my head is, you asked.
The mayor said it didn't affect your ability to respond. Did it affect LA City Fire's ability to respond, starting with the Palisade Fire and then this domino effect of fires, including the Archer Fire that we're seeing happen right now in Granada Hills?
Yeah, I think obviously any budget cut is going to impact our ability to provide service. That's at this point, that is the ground truth in regard to our ability. If there's a budget cut, we had to pull from somewhere else. What does that mean? That doesn't get done. There's delays. So in the end, again, I'm going to focus on getting us what we need from this particular catastrophe and disaster and how much it's impacted the communities that we love. I got to go after the things that will help our firefighters, keep them safe, and make sure that if and when this ever happens again, that we're properly funded and that we have the ability to do our jobs and keep people safe.
What is your message to city administrators, starting with Mayor Bass?
My message is the fire department needs to be properly funded.
And it's not.
It's not at this point, and we've got the justification. We know where our gaps in service are. We know we need 62 new fire stations. We need to double the size of our firefighters. The growth of this city since 1960 has doubled, and we have less fire stations.
Let's
Hey, let's not talk about that. I'm on TV, and I'm going to go on TV with you for a second. Let's talk about TV stuff here for a second. Give me a second. Friends and family, I'm on with Tango Bronson. He's actually out there in the area right now. Tango, could you let me know what is the air quality in Malibu and Santa Monica right now?
It's horrible. I shot a video the other day where I could see where it was coming in with the winds and the smoke. It kind of blew away because I don't know if you guys know what the deal is, but do your research on it. But now it's coming back really, really bad. And I shot a short video and went live. And
hey, besides that, let's talk about us right now, okay? You're on TV with me. I'm showing how Santa Monica and the Palisades are in ashes. There's tons of asbestos that's out there. Are you smelling chemicals in the air?
Yes, real bad. I actually went outside to walk my dogs. I had a mask on, and I feel really sick right now.
Okay, so you're basically, and then there's probably no hotels for anybody to go to because they're all filled up. What are the people out there doing? And is the city able to like provide housing? Are you guys just scrambling to like make it to Vegas, or what's going on out there now?
You really can't get anything. There's no rental cars. There's no trucks. No nothing. Everything's shut down. And from what I understand, it's the same thing at the airport. What's going on right now? So you're kind of like stuck here. So if you do have a vehicle or whatever, you probably should get out of here. And that's what we're seeing right now. But then again, with the hotels, those are all booked. Most of the hotels, and from what I understand from Malibu, the people available that lost everything are in
Now,
Santa
hey,
Monica
let's
right now.
let's talk about that too. Now, I saw like the Wells Fargo and Bank of America banks, and it looked like to me through video footage, and this looks almost impossible. It looked to me like not only the ATMs, but the safes were melted in there. Are you hearing the same thing, and how could this be possible?
Yeah, that is true. That's what the sheriffs have told me and stuff. And how does the safe melt? It's only from, if you do your research on that, direct energy,
Right.
to whatever you call it, the laser beams, but it's basically impossible. They're basically melted, all the buildings, and if you do a little more research, it's pretty much all over YouTube, Twitter,
Yeah.
Facebook, and they're showing this stuff. They actually show, Chris, where there's beams coming through. You just got to look carefully, but it takes the places out, like the whole neighborhoods, within just a couple hours. How was that even possible?
Right.
And then, of course, with that dew stuff over there, you'll notice, you see a lot of people with the blue roofs.
Right.
And there's a few they already posted. I saw, I think it was Tom Hanks, a few others, and they do not melt. And they won't catch on fire. Just like the same stuff that happened in Hawaii, with Oprah's house and all that, and Iraq and all that. You know what I mean? So this is well planned.
I'm thinking it is planned, and that there's no way it couldn't be planned. In fact, I'm thinking China and China's involved with drones, and we've seen some interesting drones. I'm about to show everybody some drone footage, in fact, that was spotted over Malibu, and even that came on live on Fox, where there are a couple of orbs. And to me, it's like, well, I know we've apprehended some arsonists, But could this also be China with their Chinese orb boats working with dues? Because again, how can we explain? It looks just like Lahaina, and how can we explain like the ATMs and then the safety deposit boxes just burning to a crisp when there wasn't even anything flammable in the area?
Exactly, just like Pacific Coast Highway going up. I mean, think about it.
Right.
They light that right out. It's impossible. I drive up and down that road every single day. You know what I mean? And
Well, tell us about it.
It's
This
like that
does,
world.
yeah.
It's like war. It's like that. What was the name of that movie? War of the Wars.
Okay.
The aliens came down. It was pretty much like that. It was the most craziest shit I ever saw. I saw the footage at first. I was down in L.A. I was getting some material for a job and stuff, and I just saw all of a sudden, because I was doing a job up in Malibu, and I saw the smoke, and I'm like, holy shit, what the hell's going on over there? It just took place, and then within hours, they had the Pacific Coast Highway closed down.
Oh, by the way, behind me, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but just so everybody knows what they're watching here behind me, this is a Santa Monica beach camera, and notice the orb that is going out and flying out. There's an orb, a white orb that's noticed, and this was in the Santa Monica beach camera and Malibu beach cameras, where they noticed these orbs that were flying around right before the fires were started. And so there is arson, but at the same time, I'm not going to call them UFOs when they're actually Chinese drone boats that are off the coast. But do you see this white light, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to try to like point it out when I see it actually come back onto frame here. But this is on third phase of moon. They just had that playing. We're going to keep it playing here. But there it is right there. And there is this orb that was floating around and then floating into the fires. Do you see this orb that's right here, ladies and gentlemen? And so this orb was tracked, and this is off of another camera in Santa Monica, then up the coast into Malibu, and then there's fires. Could there be something else at play here? And that's all I'm going to get at. So yeah, I'm showing people how there's this orb that was noticed on the coast going up and down the coast, and then simultaneously as we have fires, and then people were noticing that these orbs were even dropping fire and metal fire particulates off the orbs. Anyways, do you have any speculations on that? Do you think this could be like, war that we're looking at, Tango?
100%. And don't forget, Chris, they got all the water things were shut off. Everything, all the they had no access to water with the hydrants.
you guys couldn't even defend yourself, could you?
No, we couldn't even do nothing at all. You actually saw firemen, they were using buckets, and people where they were going into their pools.
Yeah, and using purses because they literally didn't even have the adequate equipment to even fight a fire. In other words, the government completely left you guys high and dry, pulled your insurance. This government, if anything, is the most treacherous bunch of scoundrels that are out to get us that I've ever seen in my life. And I want you to know that Tango Bronson has been defending President Trump out there, on the West Coast for all of us. He is our friends and family. And right now he's having a tough time breathing, and he ain't no George Floyd.
That's true. And also, Chris, think about this. To talk about planning and stuff, China and stuff. Before Biden, whatever the fucking that guy's name is, clone, whatever. Long story short, they had everything shut down, the airspace over here. So this is so well planned that nobody could fly over here. So obviously, as I saw reporters talking about, they wanted to go up there with their helicopters and they wouldn't allow anything because they didn't want to show it.
Right.
They didn't want to catch them in the act. So you got to think about that. And then, of course, everywhere there was storage war. Man, my brain's messed up right now from all these chemicals over there.
Sure.
They sold all the water and stuff. They were all drained out and everything 2 days before this all happened. So you tell me what's up. Well planned.
Oh, exactly. It's like tactical warfare. And in my opinion, the government just burned out everybody off the coast to make an invasion for China much more easier. I talked about this with Frank Dukes and a couple of other generals and admirals, and they think, China's doing this. And they just took away the strongest, pretty much the strongest civilization on the West Coast. Because if you think about it, Seattle and they've been decimated by drugs already, and you got Mexico down there in San Diego. But pretty much our strongest community on the coast has been Los Angeles, and they just took it out.
Exactly. It's pretty much.
Oh, now, hey,
Exactly.
everybody, I want you to watch this. What's behind me here? This was filmed on Fox. You see this orb flying across the TV. This is right in front of the Hollywood sign. This was filmed on accident. And again, it was noticed by everybody. But do you notice the orb flying across? And this is as heavy fires were happening in Los Angeles. Now, I'm going to connect the dots and everything else, but understand our Americans out there on the West Coast are having trouble breathing. Everything was made back in the 30s. Everything's loaded full of asbestos out there. If you need to, travel out to visit me in the Midwest, doors open, Tango, just so you know.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I'm having a hard time breathing right now, Chris. It happened that quickly, man.
Yeah.
I'm actually afraid to go back outside, but I'll check on it obviously again in the morning with my dogs. You know what I mean? But,
Sure.
I'm going to try to stay inside as long as I can. But again, it's kind of like, with no water or anything like that. It's like us sending our soldiers to war with fake bullets.
Yeah.
No bullets. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like something like that's a scenario.
It's kind of
really
like
scary,
what we're
and it's
fighting
real.
right now for real. No kidding.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's really true. Yeah.
All right. Well, I love you, buddy. Hang in there. Call me. And the nation's here for you. And keep us posted with everything that's going on there. I'm going to continue with the news report.
All right. Thank you, brother. And God bless you all. And make sure you stay in touch with Chris Sanders, American News Network, right here, because he keeps it real. God bless you all. Peace.
Thank you, buddy. Bye. Okay, now this is a news chopper in Los Angeles basically guiding an orb out. And I just wanted you to see this because this is not common. And we need to be, just aware of this. And these are just people from LA that are filming things and reporting orbs that are just coming out of the sky. Now, I'm going to bring it all together. The evacuation, just so you know, is horrible. I'm talking from Encino, Studio City. The 405 is one of the fire blockade breakers, and the 101 is the other one. Topanga Canyon, it passed that. Runyon Canyon had its episode, but we have Hollywood completely being burned down to the ground, and it's complete devastation. There is a chemical that's in the air, of course, right now. Now, what is this? I'm going to show you exactly what is doing this because our government's just lying. We should have an answer. Here's your answer. This is your answer. Off of both of our coasts, America, we have these Chinese drone ships. Each one's capable of carrying over 500 drones. They're both in orbs and in helicopter form and fashion. We've noticed them over the East Coast and over the West Coast, and I've just shown you footage where there's been orbs that have been noticed around these fires. If they use direct energy weapons with these orbs in conjunction, they have the ability to burn our cities down to a pulp. Now, I'm not going to say that's what it is, but that's what it is. Nobody else is giving you an answer, so I'm giving you an answer. There's reasons why I think I should be in the security department because our government is not being transparent. They're not even letting you see what the culprit is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the culprit behind me. This is phase 2. This was not even phase 1. Now, this ship has the ability to go up and even underneath the water, resurface, and it's been spotted with several types of drones, but I will let you know China has bragged about it holding 500 drones and being able to do that and having these masses of 50 drones at a time, and then lo and behold, the same thing is reported off the coast of New Jersey. Now, if the government's not going to be transparent and tell you that there is actually a war weapon out there that is capable of doing that, well, shame on them. This is it. And this killer whale is their phase 2. And they're leading in the arms race. Again, this is their phase 2 ship that was like this. Their first ship was called the Zhu Haiyan. And I did a special on that, and we were having trouble with the Zhu Haiyan off the coast of Taiwan 2 years ago. This was their very first drone ship capable of launching switchblade drones, Fandong drones, orb drones, and also the wing drone the Shahed 138 drone. This is something that China started replicating, and I'm suggesting that China is already started a war on us, and they have hit us on the East Coast, and these drones have probably infected our water system. These drones were spotted over the New Jersey and New York water systems and reservoirs. China has then hacked our water systems. Wake up. Them radioactive material was missing. What do you think these people are doing? They're not going to shoot us with bullets. They're going to poison us and radiate us. Our government's been purchased by these people to the point that they let a balloon go over our country and told us it was just fine. It's fine as long as Joe Biden took a paycheck for it. Again, this was phase 1, Zhu Hai Yan. What was the goal of Zhu Hai Yan? To kill every American in their bed as they slept so that they could give everybody in China a free American home. That is the exact translation on Chinese TV. Wake up. I am sick of these politicians acting like China is our friend when they are our foe. Russia and America should join forces to combat our true enemy, which is China. China thinks of H1N1, SARS, and all of these other diseases. They steal patents, and they're also attacking us with UFOs and drones. Right now, they've also sent all these students to America that are on CCP, pretty much military war weaponry. They're all military soldiers that are in our country. We need to kick China out. We need to help them get Xi Jinping out and then allow them to come into America under a free leadership, but not under the dictatorship that they have now. Right now, they view us as the enemy, and I'm showing you they've not just have one drone carrier, they've gone on to phase 2. They have also released 2 different aircraft carriers. They only have one enemy or 2, and their enemies are Israel and the United States. And these drones just took out the biggest place where Israel lives in the United States. That's a wake-up call. In case you didn't figure that out, yeah, Pacific Palisades, there's more rich Jews that live in Pacific Palisades than anywhere else in America. There's also more Democrats that live right there. I think the Chinese just hit you in conjunction with the sold-out government. They're using drones in conjunction with weather and direct energy weapons. I think they hit Hawaii. I think our common denominator should be easy to spot out on as to who our enemy truly is. It's the same people that thought of the virus and the vaccines, and our government's not being transparent about the virus, the vaccines, or this poisonous fog, and it's all coming from the same country. It is not Russia, I repeat. It is not Iran, I repeat. It is coming from China. We must address the true enemy of the United States. They're the people that have these UFOs. They have these balloons. Right now, there are UFO orbs that are dropping hot metal particulates and causing fires. This has been spotted in the United Kingdom, over London, over the United States, on the East Coast, the West Coast, and also Australia. We all share a common denominator enemy, and it's the author of Zhu Hai Yan. Wake up. It's the same people that have stolen the Panama Canal. Now you need more proof on this. Okay, so our friends and family in the United Kingdom and also over there on the East Coast have taken pictures. And we also have some little extra fragments, but everybody around has got a cell phone, and they've been taking these little fragments. So we've actually picked up these hot metal fragments that have dropped off of Chinese orbs. Except when they dropped them in England and various areas, it was wet. But when they dropped them in Malibu, it was the ideal time, place, and occasion. I am trying to give you an update on as to what we are truly fighting. These orbs that you are seeing, this is a videotape of an orb that then starts dripping metal and fire. And we've been seeing them. These are other posts. You can see other people that make these posts. And the UFO dropped molten metal in the materials. And when it happened in London, it didn't start a fire. When it happened in Malibu, it just burnt down the entire city. We have full disclosure going on right now with Trump gathering. We will be taking over Greenland. America, we do need to bind together in the name of freedom. And we do have a lot of things that are hitting us right now. I do want you to know that the Ukraine has fallen. We need to address all of the fraud, the $20 billion of fraud that this government just fast-tracked to the Ukraine. We need to stop every dollar. We need to either give that to our politicians, throw each and every one of them in prison. Now you might say, why, Chris? Because we need every single dollar that we sent there to rebuild California. We need to put ourselves first. What about the Ukraine? I could give a rat's ass about the Ukraine when it comes to my friends out in California. What about you? And if you care that much about some other country, move there. And if you're making some comment about what we should do, but you're not an American, don't make that comment. You're not fooling us. Cool it. So understand something. The EU is going to fall. NATO is going to fall. We are going to take over Greenland. We are going to take over the Panama Canal. We are going to let Putin have the Ukraine. And those are the big negotiations. I look at Orange Man Good coming back in, and he's like, look, Biden lost the Ukraine, and there's nothing he can do about it. But while there's all this property on the chopping block, such as Syria, Afghanistan, and the Ukraine, now is the perfect time for us to pick up Canada, Greenland, Cuba, Venezuela, and Mexico. My name's Chris Sanders, and mark my words, we're going to take your ass over and enjoy it. And you're going to enjoy it too. Now, if you're in the cartel, well, who cares? I guess your days are numbered, but we need to number those guys' days. And as far as this Israeli hostage, dead in Gaza and all that stuff, this is not the days of Iran. You got to understand, Israel went in and carpet bombed Gaza, meaning a good chunk of all those hostages are probably dead. They were not smart guided munitions. They were gravity bombs, white phosphorus bombs. Who do they think they're kidding, thinking that there's even hostages left? I would pray that those hostages would be alive. I pray that even more that all the children in Gaza will stay alive and that you leave them alone. There is a God, and God is watching everything above and what we're doing. And when we had a town that defied God, I'm not even going to play it, but I'll let you know when the Golden Globes played. That comic, she defied God. And I was like, every time, so I had to just turn it off. And I was like, if you actors want to participate in all that nonsense, to dare make fun of or ridicule Jesus at all, I'm just cutting you off. Within 48 hours, the entire city burned down. Jesus is back, and he has spoken. He is here, and the answer is just to unify with countries that believe in Christ. That's why I throw Mexico on there, because Mexico is just an entire country of believers. So we got Mexico, I could say Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Venezuela, but in El Nombre de Jesus, through Jesus Christ, we've already won. So we don't have to be afraid of anything. And that's the answer. People say, hey, God's got this. And I'm letting you know, look, God has this. And the answer is to just completely pull away from the seeds of Abraham, because they will never get along. And let the seeds of Jesus grow to become the biggest tree, where even then all the other birds can rest in our branches. God bless and amen.